The story, a bit of some positive news on this long weekend as we head to Workers' Day on Sunday. The holiday will, of course, be on Monday. The Premier of Gauteng, David Makhura, signing the Township Economic Development Bill into law. The new law will help South African entrepreneurs in townships have access to government funding. This, of course, helping them to start their businesses. I don't think she will do so. Nqobile Madlala is not going to start a business. She's our reporter. She's here. She was there listening this afternoon. Nqobile, good afternoon, and thank you very much for your time this afternoon. It's a piece of good news today, I guess. I mean, young black-owned businesses complaining, especially in townships in and around Gauteng. Gauteng being the hub of the South Africa's economy, and actually I think the GDP of Gauteng is bigger than many countries in Africa, just as a small province. They've been really saying, we need help, can you help us? Looks like there is a way now forward. Are they excited about this?
Well, very excited, Bradan. I mean, we're hearing that this is a game changer. That's how Makhura is explaining it. But what this is basically a tool. What it means is that the government now needs to, and it's mandatory, that's the word, mandatory, for them to do business with young people who are also entrepreneurs, who are South African, which means before they go out, they need to look into whether or not they are giving these people any business. So in terms of procurement, they are the first people in line that will need to be looked at. In terms of things like funding, this needs to be looked at. So the government is not only responsible in doing business, but it's also responsible in growing the business with them. So things like paperwork. Now you'll remember paperwork is such a hard bit for a lot of people.
Red tape.
Yes, no more red tape, Bradan. No more red tape for these businesses. And they're saying that they're now going to help them step by step from starting your business to like your paperwork, going up to making sure that you have some form of income really in those procurement. But this is not just happening in one go. It's happening in different departments in Gauteng. So he's saying that this is going to be a game changer. There's about over 800, to be exact, it's about 850 million rand that they have raised at this point. We also know that Standard Bank is coming also on board to give them an app which will allow them to also have access to their businesses. But what is interesting about this, Bradan, is that the need for this, they say it was very clear under the riots, because a lot of businesses didn't have paperwork.
The July riots.
Yes. So they're saying that a lot of businesses didn't have paperwork. They couldn't recognize them. So they're going to apply for grants, but who are you? What have you done? Were you really there? And things like addresses, people don't update their addresses. So all these things were affecting how they were supposed to get the money that was going to assist them. And so this is why it's such a game changer. But of course he explains it better. Let's listen in.
So over time, we have looked at existing funds and existing policy instruments. And quite clearly, there was a big gap about what do you really do in the communities. For community-level business operations, what do you do? And we also know that it is also in that space where a lot of other businesses came to the fore, illegally operating businesses, and I want to emphasize illegally operating businesses that set up, some of them, I explain this all the time, some of them really the businesses are not registered, they're not paying any tax, but they do large-scale operations. And as we were doing this work, engaging with the businesses throughout, we also identified that we have a specific phenomenon in South Africa, that there's lots of businesses that are owned and are operated by foreign nationals who do not have even documentation. I have been part of operations of the police. Where we get into a business, we find that there's not even a passport, not even one document, no passport, but the people are operating the businesses there. There's no documentation, they don't pay tax. So we're starting afresh.
We're going to have to watch this and see. And I'm sure many young people who were there listening to this have had something to say, Nqobile.
Well, simply put, Bradan, they want to see the heavy lifting. They want to see it on the ground. They want to see it happening. And I mean, they are going to...
The proof is in the pudding.
Yes, that's what they want to hear. And let's listen to them now.
You know, besides being a community leader, I'm in construction. You know, I've got a fencing business. You know, we want them to focus on those kind of different environments.
There's nothing much that I can say until everything is being done properly in action. That's what I want to see.
Remember, we're going to be able to get a lot of things that we don't have. In terms of the resources, we can also be able to employ even some of our local people there.
We are looking at the stakeholder engagements that they're going to organize and find out exactly now how is this thing going to be implemented.
I think that's the big question. That young business lady there asking the right question. How is this going to be implemented? Premier Makhura, we're going to be watching and following it as well. Very important to get it right. It cannot be money for jam for the wrong people, for the wrong reasons. It has to be money to support and build up young-owned local businesses in Gauteng.